How about another round for Brewsday Tuesday? Here is Huck and Big Nate.
Oh, right in the microphone.
Yeah, and that was a terrible, terrible open for me. And one of these days, I'm just going to show up in a flak jacket just to be ready and keep that head on a swivel. Welcome into the 420 edition of Brewsday Tuesday, round 2, brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant and Six Pack Store.
That was a great song, man. That was really good.
Yeah, I think it matched the mood, and hope everyone's having as good a Tuesday as you possibly can.
Me too.
It's a good Tuesday for it.
420.
Oh, Lordy. Oh,
mercy. Okay, so I am drinking in stage 2, Lagunitas, the Waldo's Special Ale Triple IPA. And I don't know if this has ganja in it or not, but it sure as heck tastes like it. I'm just saying.
So I've got the Cano Bliss Double IPA, 8.2% ABV, Citra Double India Pale. I did not know Citra was a registered trademark. I mean, I guess it makes sense. A little Oskar Blues action. Now, I think they really just went for a clever name here. I don't think this actually has anything 420 related other than the name, but I can tell you, I poured it and I didn't bring it up near my face. I can smell it from here. I'm really excited.
All right, so there's like more than one story about this beer. I'm trying to find the APV, but then they had a lot of writing on here.
Lagunitas makes you
okay. So the 420 comes from the Waldos. They met after school.
Yep.
At 420. Okay, and that's what they call themselves. It's in California somewhere. This I can't read. My eyes are too bad. Oh, this is 11.7%.
Ooh, buddy.
Okay, so but the Lagunitas story. I mean, for 420, it's the best story. It actually occurred on St. Patrick's Day.
So this to me though is like the 420. If it's the story, I think you're going to tell. It's like the 420 version of The Night Before Christmas.
It kind of is, So Lagunitas was a cutting edge, cool, old hippie brewery. One of the foundings in 2005. Every Thursday they would have a party on their deck that overlooked their brew place, wasn't an actual restaurant, and that people would come out. And so this was St. Patrick's Day is a special day. So someone rolled a special joint. The joint was 8 inches long, and they had to use a sushi roller and special paper to make it. And so they did that. They rolled it up, and this was the biggest one they'd ever had. I think it was for charity, and there were 100 people there. And so this guy, the Lagunitas guy, who I should know everybody's name, but I'm not good with him. He's 53 years old, and he goes outside because he didn't want to smoke inside. And they light up this 8-inch joint, and he hands it to the next person. Somebody grabs his arm, pulls it behind his back, puts a handcuff on it. And he goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm arresting you." He goes, "Well, who are you?" He says, "The police." He goes, "Well, what kind of police?" "State ABC police." And said in his mind, he went, F the F. This is not good. But actually, it was, again, like one of Huck's favorite sayings is there's no such thing as bad publicity. So basically what happened was, they had been investigating this Thursday night event, and then a lot of marijuana was being smoked, and they came and arrested dude, and they took his ABC license for 3 months or whatever. What happened was he then became serious about the beer business. And now it's, $14 billion business. And he's one of the ones that really got it going because he kind of had to, he had to recover from that. But they make good beer. They always have.
They truly are. I mean, they're one of those, the branding's very important, but they take it to that next level with the product matching the branding.
Right.
It's all like, I know you've had this experience. To me, sometimes it's that whole, you can't judge a book by its cover. I've had some really well-presented beers, great cans, bottles, label work, fantastic. And you get to the beer and it's like, well, they need to maybe stop paying their graphic designers so much and put more into the product. But Lagunitas always has been incredibly solid and simple. Everything stays kind of on the same format. And granted, I think they do get a little experimental. I'm not entirely sure about the Waldos you're drinking. I haven't done much research. I've actually never seen that bottle before.
Yeah, well, it's a triple IPA. It might not be for you.
Well, we'll see how this goes.
That's what I like about, Stone, Greg Stone, I call him. When he started out, he was making a really bitter IPA. And it's like there's there's a significant number of people who don't like really bitter IPAs. And he's like, I don't really give a huck. He says, you can drink it or not. I'm not making it for you. I'm making it for me. And I mean, I know that people will argue that, but I find at every brewery, it's like, I'm going to do a focus group and we're going to make a beer that women like. Okay, so let's take the smallest percentage of people that drink heavy, big beers, and that's who we're going to cater to. I don't know. I think you should cater to everyone. If you want to have some beers, especially for women, if you want to have some, and most of the women I know that drink beer are just like me, but that's just me. If you want to have some beers for, whatever group, go ahead, but make something for everybody.
I mean, look at a company like Sam Adams. They are still technically craft brewery, correct?
Yeah, and they have like merged with Dogfish Head.
They have one of the largest portfolios because instead of sitting there and kind of doing that narrow, we'll make like 3 beers. They've made something for everyone, but they haven't sat there and tried to.
So in a year
where they just experiment.
In a year where a large number of breweries went out of business, they're making bank. You know why? One word, truly. They make the second highest selling hard seltzer. Even now with Budweiser and everybody else in it, they're still winning. Sorry. I love it, that they can do that. They're the largest craft brewery in the country.
So Truly's the second.
Truly's second to White Claw. And we've talked about this before. I suspect that InBev is behind White Claw somewhere. Don't know why.
They've got their hands in the pot.
They do. They own the Canadian rights or something. I don't know. But I'm just saying that's, it just bugs me that they're getting away with that. But anyway, other news though is you talking about Sam Adams. He just wrote a letter to like all the distributors and said the liquor companies are trying to put the wool over your eyes and change the law. Somehow I didn't read. I mean, it's a long read, but it's about taxation, and they're trying to tax the craft breweries out of existence. So, because they're now making the seltzers and they're making the pre-mixed drinks, which in Virginia, they were just allowed to be on the shelf. So you can go to the grocery store and basically buy liquor, which is probably, we ought to be able to do that with all liquors because I love states that we can do that because then the free market works and we can get some Buffalo Trace. Thank you. I'll leave that there.
That was a great part of many of my trips to Seattle was you can buy liquor right in the grocery store.
Right.
However, there was something I noticed recently in a local grocery store. It was this liquid in the wine area shaped exactly like a tequila bottle. Huh. That's weird. I mean, it had the lid and everything, and it was tequila flavored wine. So there's some company that's distributing. They had tequila, they had whiskey, and I think there was a vodka one. Flavored wine. So I don't know, and maybe we need to try it somewhere down the line. I'm very curious. I feel like it's a terrible idea. But it did stand out in my brain.
No, we should probably try that.
They're selling liquor at the grocery store now. Oh, nope, fooled me.
Well, I will say that
it was like 28%.
Well, it's almost liquor.
Yeah.
That's like a cordial. So I will say that I've had maybe 6 or 8 beers aged in tequila barrels, and I didn't hate any of them. I will say that. Maybe we should do that show too. Tequila aged beers.
All right.
That's getting real specific. There's something else we were talking about doing too, like that. Like, can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to take some adventures here.
I'm like my memory.
The season for adventuring.
Like, man, today, man, it's like my memory's up in smoke, man. You know what I mean, man.
I'm not even gonna attempt.
I'm so high, man.
I think we're parked, man.
I hope so. I'm fine, really, but I'm just having fun with it. Yeah, I love Cheech and Chong. They were the greatest.
They were the greatest, and
yeah, Tommy Chong got arrested, and he
very recently.
Well, no, but 10 years ago, 12 years ago, he got arrested.
Again.
Yeah, but he did get arrested again. But they made him STFU about the benefits of cannabis.
Yep.
They made that was his sentence. He had to not promote marijuana anymore.
And I'm sorry, every interaction I've ever seen with him, he seems like just one of the nicest, sweetest people in the entire world.
But I mean, you know, they were like the first guys to have their own brand when it got legalized.
Yep.
You know,
I mean,
Snoop Dogg's famous, but
it would have been a crime if they didn't.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, let's say we need to see this in Virginia. You know, we're legalizing July 1st. You know, by the 1st of January, I want to start seeing some dispensaries.
I want Tommy and Cheech to show up at events in the area. It's only fair.
It is fair. Well, look, we got a year, next 420. Let's see what we can do.
I mean, we know what Tommy's doing. What's Cheech doing these days? Is he still acting?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's just laying around smoking a big one.
I'll make some phone calls.
All right, call your people. Call. Have your people call.
I don't know who to call. I'm just gonna dial. Does Zero still work for operator?
You know, I just read a whole story about that. The guy would call every time he had a problem and ask the operator stuff like his dog, his mouse died or whatever, and then like 20 years later, he called just as a spur of the moment. He went home and it was the same operator, and so then he was for a couple of years he didn't do anything, and he called again, and the girl says, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Well, we have a message from her. She passed away."
Oh.
And he said something like whatever it was about he told him about the mouse, you know, dying, and he's cried. So it's really sweet.
That's a country song if I've ever heard
I know. I've been listening to a little country lately.
There was the Travis Tritt call. Here's a quarter, call someone who cares, and the alternative is dial 0 for someone who cares. All right, we got to rate these bad boys. Your Huck's Beer Buzz on.
I just have to. You asked about Tommy.
All right,
Cheech and Chong, and I'll just give you a quote from Cheech and Chong. It says, "When you smoke weed, you will get high. When you read, you will get educated. So when you read and smoke, you'll get highly educated."
You know what?
I couldn't say that with a straight face.
That's important though.
So there you go. They're still around. They're on Twitter.
It gives you like an absurd level of focus.
That's on Twitter. That was April 12th. So they're still around.
Good
All right. So let's rate some Waldos and some
Cano Bliss.
You can go first this time.
All right. I'm Horror Show Radio on Untapped. He's Huck's Beer Buzz. This is the Cano Bliss Double IPA Citra registered trademark Double India Pale Ale, 8.2%, and it does not drink like it. I don't know. It's pretty smooth. It's pretty well balanced. Like I said, the only 420 thing in the name is the name, but it's a pretty solid brew. I'll give it a 4.25. If you like IPAs, if you like double IPAs, pretty solid.
So I'm just going to read this. In 1971, the Waldos met one afternoon at 419 as so not to be late, and set out in an 86 Impala armed with a treasure map on a journey to find a spot near Point Reyes. They never found the spot, but they kept looking. The darkest, hoppiest beer ever brewed at Lagunitas was made with the help of the Waldos for all treasure hunters. So the thing about this beer, it's a triple IPA. It's 11.6. This beer is mislabeled. This beer, I'm anointing this beer a barley wine, which is Huck's favorite style beer. They made a triple IPA, but it's a barley wine, and it's excellent. It gets a 5.
I was gonna guess that. Like I literally already had a 5 typed to send to you. So you remember.
I'm inclined not to give you any of it, but I will because I am a fair man. I will. But this is great beer.
Puff, puff, pass. Happy 420, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
All right. That's going to do it for this edition of Brewsday Tuesday. We'll be back again next week. In the meantime, the rock rolls on. You've been listening to Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant and Six Pack Store on 105.3 The Bear. The Bear.